Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I have a treat for all of you. I am going to use a recreated version of the team that won the Japanese National Championships back in 2004, and we're going to be using it in Pokemon Sword and Shield for ranked battles. Now, VGC wasn't a thing way back in 04, but there were official kind of doubles tournaments in Japan, right? And so the player that actually had built this team was the national champion from 04, and they actually managed to get third at Worlds back in 2010 as well. And so it's an absolute treat to use such a fun team, and of course it has a lot of fun Pokemon like Latios, Metagross, Ludicolo, and Ninjask. So, as always, I do a quick breakdown of these teams in the beginning of the video, but if you want to just check out the battles, check out the timestamps in the description below, and thank you so much for watching. I am so excited to start making content for Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, that's coming out really shortly. I took a couple of days off just the last few days to refresh my mental, focus on things outside of Pokemon, but really eager to, just kick everything into 110%. And so if there's content you'd like to see for Scarlet and Violet, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Greatly appreciate it. Before we get started, today's episode is sponsored by Into the AM. They're an awesome apparel company that makes all kinds of different clothing, ranging from basic tees to graphic tees to hoodies to joggers to jackets, and I really personally love their line of graphic tees. I'm currently wearing one right now, as you can see. And yeah, they make all kinds of different clothing, and they're always running really great promotional deals as well. In addition, if you buy over $85 worth of stuff, you will get free shipping within the United States, and you also can always buy their clothing, try it out. If you decide you don't like it, you can ship it back to them and get your money back. And so I personally wear a lot of Into the AM, and I'm a big fan of everything that they have to offer, so I'll list some of my favorite products down in the description below. But huge thank you to them for continuing to support the channel and continuing to sponsor their channel as well. Really appreciate them. They've been nothing but great to work with. So yeah, go check them out. Use code CyberVGC10 for 10% off your next order, and use the link intotheam.com/cybervgc. So I think I have to start this team with Ninjask, right? I mean, come on. Ninjask has really never been used in VGC. You know, it's been somewhat common in singles between like baton pass strategies throughout the years, but in doubles, it just really doesn't have too much value. However, if you want to make it work, I think this set makes a lot of sense. The idea is, hey, I have Focus Sash. Hey, I can actually turn into a Dynamax option and deal decent damage between Max Airstream, Max Darkness, and Max Quake. Also, when people see Ninjask, they just really have no idea what to expect, so Dynamaxing in front of them can really catch them off guard, right? But the idea is that Ninjask is already really fast. You've got dual wing beats, so this means that Ninjask is actually somewhat valuable outside of Dynamax, because this can like KO Whimsicott through Focus Sash, for example. But keep in mind that Ninjask isn't exactly the strongest, so Whimsicott's like ultra bulky. You're not guaranteed the KO there, which is a little bit sad to say. But Ninjask also synergizes nicely with a lot of other Pokemon because it can Airstream to give Kyogre, Groudon, really anything speed boosts, for example. And then you've got Dig, which turns into Max Quake, which is valuable into things like Zacian, for example. So Ninjask, super interesting. Ludicolo and Metagross we saw a little bit throughout Sword and Shield. This Ludicolo is fairly interesting because it actually has Fake Out, Icy Wind, Weather Ball, and Leaf Storm. You often expect to see a water-type attack like Hydro Pump or Scald, but the idea is with this team, your restricteds are Kyogre and Groudon, so given the dual restricted combination, Weather Ball turns into Max Geyser or Max Flare, depending on which one is out. So one thing you could do is catch Zacian off guard and just Life Orb Max Flare them for a one-hit KO when they're never expecting it, right? I think that's fairly interesting. And yeah, you just hit Pokemon for super effective damage when they really don't expect it with Weather Ball. You also have Icy Wind here instead of Ice Beam to give you another means of speed control, Fake Out, and just modest max special attack, which is fairly standard. Metagross here is a weakness policy set, and so the idea is that you've got Bulldoze Latios next to it, so Latios can Bulldoze and just immediately enable weakness policy on it. And the Latios here, as you can see, is fairly bulky as well with 100 HP EVs and 124 defense EVs. And it makes sense because like it's not really designed to be a sweeper here. You only have one main attack in Draco Meteor, and this is really just to like get some chip damage onto things. But the idea of Latios generally is to enable Metagross by bulldozing the weakness policy, and then you can also Tailwind with it to get speed advantage with things like Kyogre, for example, because this Kyogre really appreciates having Tailwind up since it's not exactly super speedy. So yeah, Latios plus Metagross is one duel that you can lead with this team and then like close out games with Kyogre and Groudon. Finally, you've got Choice Scarf Groudon here, which is fairly interesting. I mean, Choice Scarf Groudon is just not something people expect generally, and so you can catch opposing Calyrex-Is or Zacians off guard, for example. And yeah, this also actually allows you to outspeed Kyogre, which is really nice, unless they're Choice Scarf and Max Speed as well, in which it's a speed tie. But basically, like, few people expect Groudon to be as fast as it is, and so you can often come in and just, like, catch a Zacian off guard and just KO it, for example. And finally, you've got a pretty classic Assault Vest Kyogre here. This one has a little bit more speed investment. As a result, the special attack investment isn't as great. But the general idea here is that this is just a really consistent Dynamax option. with this team, you can actually Dynamax anything, which I think makes it really fun as well. But the most consistent options I would say are Kyogre and Metagross first, then like Groudon, Ludi, and Ninjask. I think like Ludi and Ninjask, actually Ludi could be a really good max option depending on the matchup. Groudon and I try not to max as much just because it's Choice Scarf, so you have no bulk when you're max and you can't max guard. And then Ninjask is really interesting because it actually can be a really good max option given its moveset, but you really have to find the right scenario for it. So leads that I've gone with, for example, are like Latios, Metagross, Kyogre, Ludicolo can always work as well. I sometimes like Ludicolo Ninjask to like pressure Fake Out plus Dual Wing Beat with Kyogre, Groudon in the back. And so yeah, like generally you're bringing both restricteds and you're trying to figure out which two to pair with it, right? But Latios, Metagross is one mode and one lead. Ludi, Ninjask is one mode, one lead with Kyogre, Groudon in the back. Kyogre, Ludi with Groudon, and the fourth is another combo that you could go with. So yeah, I just can't wait to try out this team. Okay, we've got Palkia, Porygon 2, Calyrex, Regieleki, Amoonguss, and Incineroar. So, super similar to Paul Chua's team from top 4 of the World Championships. I wonder if it's the exact same team. It's already been so long since Worlds, I don't remember the exact details. But either way, I actually think Metagross can be really solid here. I'm just trying to think, like, is there a world in which I ever bring Ninjask? Because I could use it to, like, self-Night Slash Metagross, which activates Policy. I could also go Latios plus Metagross to Bulldoze. I think I like Latios Metagross a bit more here. Ninjask into a potential Trick Room oriented team just doesn't feel super good to me. I'll go with Kyogre and Groudon in the back. But I'd say the main problem here is like, how do I deny Trick Room? They could lead something like Amoonguss Palkia, to which then I could actually just go for Bulldoze, Dynamax Steel Spike, KO Amoonguss, get a defense boost along the way. But then they could have Palkia, Calyrex, Ice Rider next to each other under Trick Room, and that feels slightly concerning. It is Palkia, Amoonguss. Okay. The other interesting debate here is like not actually a Dynamaxing. I think I should just Bulldoze here though. With Metagross, because like Scarf Groudon here, that's not going to be super effective for us. I could go like Bulldoze EQ this turn into +2 Bullet Punch Draco Meteor the next turn. I'm just worried about Dynamax Palkia beating us, basically. Bulldoze Max. Okay, I will just Bulldoze Steel Spike here. We'll see how it plays out. Yep, so we're going to max. I expect this to be a Rage Powder Trick Room. Like, you would want a Rage Powder because otherwise Draco Meteor into Palkia is just too much of an issue for you to deal with. It's been a while since we've used Metagross, though. It was definitely pretty solid in some of the earlier formats in Sword and Shield. So it's kind of nice to, you know, end things in Sword and Shield with it as well here. Yep, there's the Rage Powder. Yeah, like, I think Bulldoze into EQ is interesting, because then I get damage on a Palkia, making them less incentivized to Dynamax it, and then I can Bullet Punch the Amoonguss potentially for a KO the next turn. I wonder if Metagross still outspeeds Palkia, even with Palkia being at -1 speed, but I wouldn't really count on that. And I'm also hoping +2 Steel Spike actually gets the KO into Amoonguss here. If not, I'm in some trouble, but it does get the knockout. Okay. So, like, this is now a relatively free switch it into Calyrex Ice Rider for my opponent. You can go for something... Like, I guess the interesting debate is who do you max between Palkia and Calyrex, right? Because, like, feels like the answer should be Palkia. Oh, they don't Trick Room. They Spatial Rend. That is very good news for us. That is very, very good news for us. Because it means now, like, getting up Trick Room becomes infinitely more difficult for them. I guess you could bring out Incineroar and then click Fake Out onto whatever is coming in. I'd rather go into Choice Scarf Groudon right now, I think, because it's a little bit more effective into Palkia. But yeah, the lack of Trick Room there is surprising, but maybe they were a little bit hesitant about setting up Trick Room in front of a Metagross. And yeah, it's Calyrex coming out. Okay. So the main problem for me right now is that both of these Pokemon can Trick Room, right? So with Groudon, I'm content clicking Precipice Blades. Precipice Blades here. If I were my opponent, I'd probably Dynamax Palkia and actually Trick Room with Calyrex, but are they going to go for that? Because they could also just protect Calyrex and Trick Room with Palkia. So I think I will just Quake Precipice Blades in this position. Choice Scarf Groudon in this spot, not incredibly valuable because Palkia already had the -1 speed drop. Calyrex is just going to be slower anyway. But I'm at least glad Trick Room didn't go up on turn 1, because my fear was that they get Trick Room up, Calyrex comes in, and then they just Glacial Lance, Dynamax Palkia, Max Quake Metagross. But the main thing here is that Metagross actually has a fantastic matchup against their whole team. They actually switch Calyrex out into Incineroar, which is, I think, very good news for us. I'm hoping the +2 Max Quake plus the -1 Precipice Blades is enough to KO Palkia, but what an amazing game for Metagross it is here. Oh, they actually Dynamax. That's actually totally okay with me. Like, I think it's really hard for my opponent to win this game without Trick Room being up, especially thanks to Latios actually getting that Bulldoze to start off the game. That was one of the cool things about running Latios here as well, right? We had a non-restricted lead duo, but my opponent felt pressure to actually KO the Latios, thanks to Latios applying Draco Meteor pressure. But yeah, I think if Palkia had Trick Room, Rage Powder Trick Room would have been stronger for them. And no Shuka on the Incineroar, great. So Choice Scarf Groudon getting some really solid damage there. Metagross is now faster thanks to the Bulldoze. I'm going to get the +2 Max Quake off here, which isn't that much damage, but that's okay because the main thing here is getting a special defense boost, right? I've still got Kyogre in the back, which will easily finish off Incineroar and the Calyrex Ice Rider. I said easily, but it doesn't necessarily one-shot Calyrex, but that's fine. They just go for a Max Wormwind. Groudon hangs on. Beautiful. Okay. So from this position, I'm willing to just stay in, go for another Precipice Blades, and I mean, honestly, here I think I'm down to just Max Quake into Palkia, because then it's probably just an Earthquake KO range, right? I think one thing to be, I guess, a little bit careful about is I will have Kyogre. Okay, they actually Max Guard with Palkia, that's fine. And they click Fake Out. That's okay. Okay, I like that play a lot from their end. Oh, I guess this next turn is actually slightly awkward, because if I Earthquake, I'm going to have to KO my own Groudon, which doesn't feel great. I might just go for it, though. I think the alternative is actually just protecting here. Yeah, I think it's actually better to Precipice Blades and protect, because it's the last turn of Palkia's Dynamax. And so if you Max Quake my Metagross through Protect, okay, so be it. That's a little bit of damage. Last turn, I had the opportunity to target Incineroar, which I think would have been a fine target. I guess I was worried about getting crit by Palkia, but that's not something I really need to be too concerned about. Either way, though, Precipice Blades does not miss. Nice, that gets the KO onto Incineroar. If they KO Groudon here, the game's definitely over, because it's a free switch into Kyogre, but they do correctly Max Quake here into the Metagross slot. Yeah, it's pretty decent damage. Okay, so that was a crit. Yeah, that's funny. I was talking about being worried about a critical hit earlier. Palkia gets the special defense boost. Now Calyrex Ice Rider comes back out. I can miss with Metagross is the scary thing, but I do have Earthquake. Got Assault Vest Kyogre in the back as well. The other thing is, does Palkia actually have Protect? If it's running Earth Power, you want Water. Like, I assume that it's actually coming from Trick Room. Yeah, honestly, from this spot, I'm actually down to just click Precipice Blades and Earthquake because... Oh, sorry. We don't have Meteor Mesh. It's Iron Head. I'm still okay clicking Earthquake here because Groudon's going to move first, right? So even if Palkia does indeed have Protect over Trick Room, what's Calyrex going to do? It's going to set up Trick Room. Okay, then I can just Bullet Punch you anyway, right? And I've got Assault Vest Kyogre in the back, which can deal with Palkia. So feel pretty good about the spot. I do think I maybe had a better opportunity to just KO Incineroar the turn Palkia Max Guarded. If I KO'd Incineroar, then they just, okay, they actually don't protect either Pokemon. I do miss the Palkia. Hopefully, +2 Earthquake's enough to finish it off from that range. Okay. We get Earthquake off. Beautiful. That's a KO. So now it's like, okay, Calyrex either sets up Trick Room. If you do that, sure, you can't KO both Kyogre and Metagross, or you high horsepower into Metagross, but I have a defense boost. So I expect to survive here. Beautiful. What a game for Metagross. Metagross has been a super interesting Pokemon throughout competitive VGC, and it was super good, in the earlier generations. I think kind of fell off a little bit later on. You did have Mega Metagross, but then Dynamax, I think, turned it into an interesting option as well when it was allowed in Sword and Shield. So now we can just Water Spout and go for Bullet Punch. So yeah, I think the game could have been a little bit cleaner on my end. especially if I had just quaked into Incineroar there, I feel like I probably would have just won the game immediately. But I like the idea of like distributing damage onto Palkia so that Kyogre and Metagross can just finish everything off with Water Spout and Earthquake respectively. So, yep, they did not have protected. Indeed was Trick Room on Palkia, Eviolite Porygon 2, Classic, Weakness Policy, Calyrex, nothing too crazy there. Life Orb Regieleki, Focus Sash Amoonguss, and Safety Goggles Incineroar with Taunt. Okay, what a game for Metagross there. Okay, we've got Kyogre, Solgaleo with Incineroar, Whimsicott, Indeedee, and Togekiss. It's fairly interesting because it's essentially all centered around Kyogre and Solgaleo, right? The other 4 Pokemon are really supportive. So, Solgaleo doesn't seem to be the easiest matchup for us, especially if it has Max Lightning. Curious what the items are here, though. With Solgaleo, I normally expect Weakness Policy, but there aren't that many great ways to actually activate the Weakness Policy on it. Ninjask is interesting, but I unfortunately learned that Dual Wing Beat is not a guaranteed KO onto Whimsicott. Scarf Groudon's interesting, but they could go with something like Whimsicott Kyogre lead. Although I guess Ludicolo could take advantage of that. Honestly, I'm interested in Ludicolo Latios here. Groudon Kyogre in the back. Like, the idea is Choice Scarf Groudon's really weak into my opponent's team if they set up Tailwind and I don't, because essentially, like, they're just going to outpace me and KO me. So I want to bring Latios to set up Tailwind. That makes Groudon more effective, and I want Kyogre to be my Dynamax option. I think I could flex Groudon as the max option here, though, but I'm not 100% on that yet. So let's see. Solgaleo, Whimsicott. Okay, works for me. Yeah, I mean, what I wanted to go for was Fake Out into Whimsicott instead of Tailwind, but then where does that really get me, I guess? It'd be better if I could just KO Whimsicott, but I can't really, right? Ninjask actually would have been better here because I could have gone Fake Out and Dual Wing Beat onto it. I think I'll still go for it because then at least it enables my Ludicolo to outspeed them in rain, even if they set up Tailwind. Like, let's say they max Solgaleo here. Okay, you Steel Spike into Latios, then it's a free switch into Kyogre for me, and I can Weather Ball, Dynamax, Geyser, Solgaleo. Yeah, so they are going to Dynamax. I guess I could also try to KO Ludicolo here, but I'm not sure what actually can KO us. Like, because normally Solgaleos run Steel Spike, Quake, Lightning, Protect. You could have maybe some like Wide Guard or Trick Room. But Lightning, I don't expect to KO Ludicolo. This also totally could be a fling strategy, by the way. Okay, Whimsicott just goes for Protect, yeah. So if I let Ninjask here, they could have just protected and then Rockfall Ninjask if they had that. So at least get Tailwind up. The question is, where do I go from here? But the idea is now, even if they set up Tailwind, my Choice Scarf Groudon and Ludicolo in rain will outspeed them, which is kind of nice. So they're just going to Steel Spike into Latios. Okay. That is enough for a one-hit KO, but it's a free switch into Kyogre for me. That was a crit. I think that may have mattered. I would actually expect Latios to survive there without a crit, but that's okay. In some ways, that crit may benefit me because it just grants me a free switch in immediately. So, you know, Latios has only really come out for one turn in both games, but it's been an effective one turn. So the expectation now is what? Whimsicott Tailwinds itself, and then Solgaleo maybe clicks Max Lightning into Kyogre. Oh, no lie, I'm so intrigued by the idea of Dynamax here, and then switching to Groudon, Flare into Solgaleo. Trying to bait out Lightning onto Kyogre as well. I think that would be so sick. Like, I don't even think we do that much damage with the Max Flare, but I'm honestly down to go for it. The alternative would have been just like Weather Ball, Dynamax Kyogre, Geyser into Solgaleo, or Dynamax Ludicolo, Geyser into Solgaleo, and Origin Pulse / Water Spout. But like, I just kind of wanted to see Ludicolo breathe some fire out of its mouth, so I'm going to go for that. And then the thing is, I have Choice Scarf Groudon out next turn, right? And if they go for Max Lightning, this play actually works out brilliantly for me. Because then what I could actually do is switch Groudon back into Kyogre and then Geyser the Solgaleo, depending on how much damage it takes. So I think this is just fun. I don't know if it's the best play, but how often do we get to do this? This is one of the cool things about Dynamax and Sword and Shield, right? Ah, they actually set up Tailwind, so it's no Light Screen, so it's no Tailwind. Well, it's a little scary because it means I'm activating a weakness policy here. Now they've got light screen and +1 defense. Still pretty decent damage from Flare, though, truthfully. Yeah, there's the policy. Let's see if they went for lightning onto the Kyogre slot. Nope, it's Quake. Okay. Onto Kyogre, but we survive. Okay, honestly, not the end of the world. I suspect they'll want to set up Tailwind now, you would think. So I'm down to just go for the Flare here onto Solgaleo, and then the Precipice Blades here. I don't expect a KO, but that would be a very pleasant surprise. Part of it, because like they already have a defense boost. I think if they didn't have a defense boost, maybe we had a slight chance. But yeah, unfortunately for us, we ran into light screen here. Whimsicott actually switches. Okay. Into Kyogre. That makes sense. Although I'm okay with that because it means you're switching in Kyogre into a Precipice Blades right now. Nice. So we get Geyser off. This also means, yeah, now we move. Well, actually, we were going to move before you anyway. Ooh, that's a crit. I mean, that crit just wins us the game, unfortunately, for them. Like, yeah, it ignores the light screen, also ignores the special defense boost. The thing is, like, Groudon would have also gotten a Precipice Blades off there, and we would have had really good positioning with Ludicolo just in general. So, because, like, the Ludicolo wasn't fainting to anything there. But Solgaleo should have hung on with a little bit of HP there. Instead, we get a single target Precipice Blades into Kyogre, and the game just feels like it's over now. So, I'm glad to feature the Ludicolo kind of like Weather Ball interaction turning into Max Strike. Or, yeah, because I think it's really unique. And, like, that's one of the really fun things about this team, right? You look at it, you're like, how does Ludicolo not have a Water-type attack? But it's because it's running Weather Ball. But, obviously, that was a really lucky turn. I really wanted to see how the game could have played out without that. I think, like, it was slightly odd my opponent never set up Tailwind, but I think what they were maybe going for was to try to stall things out and then set up a late game Tailwind. I'm not sure they really needed to switch in Kyogre there. I get the idea to reduce the damage output from the Ludicolo, though, and turn it into Geyser rather than Flare, but yeah. Yeah, just like the lack of them setting up Tailwind surprising, because like part of what I was going for is, hey, I have this surprise Choice Scarf Groudon, right? So I would have expected them to Tailwind and then just try to KO Groudon there. That was the expectation. I'll just go for Geyser onto Incineroar now and just click Precipice Blades. Yeah, I think that's fine. Actually, I think it's technically better to KO the Incineroar here, but with us having a our own Kyogre with Assault Vest in the back, I don't think my opponent can really win this game. But the reason it's more consistent to target Kyogre here is because my opponent's team index is so heavily on damage from the Kyogre and the Solgaleo, and so it's tempting to go for a full knockout when it's in front of us. They actually switch out though, so okay, I'll take it. Okay. And they are not going to fake out with Incineroar either. So Ludicolo gets the Max Geyser off. Coming from Weather Ball. It's enough for a KO. Beautiful. I think ultimately my opponent's team relies, I wouldn't say too heavily on Kyogre Solgaleo, but the thing is, like, the rest of your Pokemon are all supportive. So, like, I know exactly what the main threats are, right? But dealing with Solgaleo was still fairly difficult in this game. Like, yeah, I don't have any really clear answers for it, because, like, Groudon you would think of as an answer, but then you would just activate Policy. I could bring out Metagross, but then Metagross, like, we would both be trading weakness policies, but Metagross is like a poor man's Solgaleo, essentially, right? So I don't really, love that either. Okay, double check the board state. 2 turns of light screen. We've still got rain up. I wonder if Weather Ball KOs Kyogre if it's Assault Vest. I'm not counting on it, to be honest. I think it's best to just leave Storm and switch out here. It's like a 90% chance to just immediately win, right? I suppose they could Tailwind Thunder into the Ludicolo slot, but then I get a free switch him back into Groudon, change the weather, and us changing the weather at this point isn't even that bad. I actually go for Charm. Cool, that works. Maybe the Whimsicott just didn't have Tailwind, but that would be crazy to me. Because we saw no Tailwind throughout this game. Charm, Light Screen. Either way, though, Ludicolo put in such a masterful performance here, but yeah, would have been fun to see how the game would have played out without the crit. The main thing is, I don't think a +2 max move from the Solgaleo actually KOs the Ludicolo anyway, since of our resistances, so I was feeling fairly confident from that spot. But now I can just Icy Wind and Ice Beam, and that's all she wrote. I don't know. Ninjask could have been fun to bring. Like, I think where you could bring Ninjask is if you expect them to have max Rockfall and you bring Ninjask specifically to bait that and go for Dig so that they spend 2 turns trying to KO Ninjask. That's like the only reason I'd really consider it in this matchup. Otherwise, yeah, I just don't think it's worth it. But hey, Ludicolo put in an awesome performance. You can check their team here. Shuka and Incineroar with Assurance, actually. Okay. Salic Berry Whimsicott, so it's Fling. Yeah, they actually did not have Tailwind. That would explain it. I think Tailwind is just so good on Whimsicott, though. It's hard justifying dropping it, but yep. Helping Hand, Protect, Mystical Fire, Follow Me. Choice Scarf Kyogre here. Yep. Pretty standard, Timid. Policy Solgaleo, as we saw. Sunsteel Strike, EQ. They did have Wild Charge, and then it was Wide Guard here. And then Grassy Seed Togekiss. Huh. There's no Rillaboom on this team. Okay. Yeah, it might just be something they had from like a previous format with Rillaboom. Because like this Togekiss is one of those Togekisses you'd expect to see in like the beginning of Sword and Shield, for example. Okay, for this one we've got Zacian, Kyogre, Regidrago, Ditto, Whimsicott, Galarian-Moltres. I really want to give Ninjask a shot here. Like, I think Ludicolo Ninjask could be kind of fun, and I think Ninjask could even Dynamax with Kyogre Groudon in the back. Do I think this is objectively the best 4? No, but do I think it's the most fun here? Probably. Because what I could theoretically do is if they lead Whimsicott, go for Fake Out, Dual Wing Beat onto that, deny them Tailwind, Dynamax Ninjask, and Max Airstream while giving Kyogre speed boosts. That's one angle we can take. And I think that's pretty cool. Metagross is solid here, but it's the Galarian-Moltres that concerns me. Also, the Metagross does not have Max Lightning, so our damage output into Kyogre is actually subpar. Let's see, if I were my opponent's shoes, what would I consider leading? Whimsicott plus Zacian, Whimsicott, Galarian-Moltres. Whimsicott Drago could work too. I think the basic thing though about playing with Whimsicott, or sorry, Ludicolo Ninjask is, well, do I think they have Protect on Whimsicott? Because if they do have Protect and I go Fake Out, Dual Wing Beat, they Protect, and then they just get a big attack off, like Ninjask and Ludicolo are both super, super frail. So the odds of me having a successful turn are somewhat slim. So it's like there's no guarantee this works, but I wanted to give Ninjask a shot here. I don't remember the last time I've used this in Sword and Shield outside of maybe like a fun challenge video years ago. So let's see. Okay, what do we got? It is Moltres and Whimsicott. I mean, I really want to Fake Out Dual Wing Beat here. I really do. Oh. What would be my alternative? Like, if they just Protect here, it'd be super bad. I don't have that much counterplay, to be honest, against it anyway. So I'm down to just go for it. Even if they... Okay, if they, let's say they Protect Moltres. Moltres Dynamaxing here would actually be a good sign for me, because then it means AB Kyogre can fare really well into it. But I guess worst case is them protecting and then just like air slashing Ludicolo for a KO. That would be my worst nightmare. Okay, they're Dynamaxing. I'm actually okay with that. Even if you KO Ludicolo, Ninjask gets a speed boost. Well, yeah, the question is whether or not they Protect. Because I think if Whimsicott doesn't Protect her and I get a KO onto it, it's an incredible trade for me. Like, trading Whimsicott for Ludicolo here. Because it would be one turn of their Dynamax. Ninjask would get a speed boost and its Focus Sash would be intact. Yes, they don't Protect. Okay, okay. Well, now I just hope Dual Wing Beat doesn't miss. Okay. Nice. I hope you're not super bulky here. Beautiful. Let's go, Ninjask! Yes! We got a KO. That's enough for me. I'm good. I'm happy as is. Oh, nice. Okay, and then they Airstream here. Into Ludicolo. Yeah, that's an amazing trade for me. That's exactly what I was hoping to see. Because it's like, yeah, you spend a turn of Dynamax just to, what, KO Ludicolo? You get a speed boost along the way, actually. So it's not just KOing Ludicolo. Shouldn't just say that, but... Okay. So they had Kyogre and Zacian in the back. If I go into Groudon, I could Dynamax, Airstream, Precipice Blades. But I think Assault Vest Kyogre is really good into all 3 of their Pokemon, especially as a max option right now, so I don't hate bringing it out. Oh, it's Regidrago. Interesting. Okay. No lie, I am like somewhat intrigued by the idea of clicking Dig here. Or even Dynamaxing Ninjask. Objectively, I think the best option is probably to max Hailstorm here. Yeah, I mean, we're up against 2 special attackers, so max Hailstorm, Drago. I'm down to go for a dig here, because, like, if we KO Drago with Hailstorm, cool. Oh, I guess they could just Airstream Ninjask and be faster, and I'm down to Sash, I dig, and then I just KO myself from Hail. That's a little awkward, actually. I maybe should have considered that a little bit more. Like, I think Protect Ninjask was maybe better. I think Dynamax Ninjask was also interesting, but it's not nearly as consistent as maxing Kyogre here. Okay, Drago protects, though. So, confirm you're not choiced or AV. That's good. I am faster than Moltres. Yeah, okay. Boop, boop, boop. Ah, sadly, they did target Kyogre. That would have been so sick if they targeted Ninjask, but that barely does any damage, so it's not the end of the world. I just wonder, like, the problem... That's a good protect from them, right? Because I don't really get that much value to my Dynamax turn here, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, Dig is not going to KO that, I don't think. The other interesting debate is, do I KO Drago now? Do I try to damage Moltres? Okay. Oh, I actually forgot about the interaction where Ninjask doesn't take hail damage when it's underground. That's kind of cool. Now, if anything, I wish I conserved my Dynamax. Because then maxing Ninjask in the late game would have been nasty. I could Geyser here. That would change the weather. Okay, I'm actually down to Geyser rather than Hailstorm here because I don't want Ninjask to lose its Sash. I suppose I could just double into Ninjask though, no? Okay, I don't actually expect Geyser to KO here, but maybe that's okay. Maybe I don't need it to KO. They go for Darkness, sure. Yeah, I mean, Assault-Vest Kyogre is just taking this so well right now. But I guess Regidrago is going to get a big attack off now, right? Which is a little concerning, especially with the special defense drops. It's just Dragon Pulse, though. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Get Max Geyser off. And now I get a Geyser off into Moltres the next turn. Oh, that actually does KO Drago. Okay. That was a crit. I don't actually think I wanted that crit, because my fear now is Zacian comes in for free and they can double up onto Kyogre with Behemoth Blade. Because you have to consider I have Choice Scarf Groudon in the back, right? Which is good against Zacian, but I need to somehow KO Moltres right now as well. No, but it's Kyogre. Okay. Right, because they only brought one restricted in this matchup. So it's Whimsicott, Moltres, Kyogre, and Regidrago. Which is generally good news for me. I want to try to KO Moltres here, so I'm going to go for Dual Wing Beat and Geyser into it. Even with the special defense drop, I expect my Kyogre to survive. Okay, Dual Wing Beat number 1, Dual Wing Beat number 2, cool. Fiery Wrath maybe, yep. Yeah, I mean, I expect to survive Thunder on Kyogre. They actually just Water Spout, beautiful. So I should KO Moltres, and then now I have Choice Scarf Groudon plus my Kyogre in this end game against their Kyogre. So it's looking pretty good. I'm just glad I got to bring Ninjask out in a game. That's all I wanted. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay. And now for the finishing touch. And now this Groudon has high horsepower, so I don't necessarily need to rely on Precipice Blaze. I get slightly higher accuracy from high horsepower. I do think I'm going to click that instead. Yeah, I mean, the accuracy difference is pretty significant here, I would say. Okay, so now we'll click Thunder and high horsepower. Especially because we're looking to reduce their Water Spout damage, right? If I were to miss and then they Water Spout, that'd be really bad. But we connect, and yeah, that's a 2-hit KO, as you can see. And there's Water Spout. Beautiful. So that decreases the amount of damage our Kyogre takes. Nice. We hang on. And let's see if Thunder connects. It does. Very nice. Alright, well, we've successfully used all the Pokemon on this team. We've used Latios to set up Tailwind. We've used Weakness Policy Metagross. We used Ninjask to KO Whimsicott. And we used Ludicolo with the Weather Ball. And obviously, we brought Kyogre and Groudon. So, for me, when I use unique teams, especially like this, it just makes me really happy to be able to bring all the Pokemon and showcase what they can do. And we were actually able to accomplish that already, which I am super, super happy about. So, let's just quickly look over their team here. Mentor, Whimsicott, yep. Classic Zacian. Just Jolly, Max. Choice Scarf Ditto here. That did not make an appearance. Leftovers Kyogre, which is interesting, given that that's not really a leftover set. Like I would expect Choice Scarf on something like this. Dragon Fang on the Regidrago, and then Weakness Policy Moltres. And Moltres was kind of annoying here, because, yeah, it meant I couldn't, for example, Dynamax Ninjask as much. But it turns out they did have Protect here, so they just protected turn 1. I would have been in a much worse position, and that's why, like, Ludicolo Ninjask, that's not a consistent duo, but hey, it worked out for us. And, you know, sometimes you just, when you're using more, like, inconsistent duos, you gotta just find plays that can work for you. Maybe they're not always going to work, but if they can, they can give you a big lead. So, yeah, it's been a fun couple of games, so we'll look for one final one here. I love it. I love the start of a new rank season because you just get to go up against some awesome things. Zacian, Kyogre, Kingdra, Leafeon, Raichu, and Amoonguss. I kind of want to make it my goal to Dynamax Ninjask or Ludicolo in this game. Let's do it. I'm going to lead Ludicolo, Ninjask, Kyogre route on. I think Metagross is solid here, but it can't really KO Kyogre that easily. But, like, Max Quaking in general here is really valuable. I think Latios is not actually that good because it doesn't have Protect. It can get outsped by Kingdra or Zacian and just get one-shot by them. And then they have Fake Out as well. So, yeah, we just dropped that from the equation. But I'm going to try to make it my goal to actually just Dynamax Ninjask because I really wanted to do it in the last game. So, okay, it's Leafeon Kingdra. I actually think, hey, this is a position for Max Ninjask. Icy Wind, Max, Airstream. Let's just go for it. What do we have to lose? But basically the logic here is with this, I get immense speed control immediately because Ninjask will be at +2 speed at the end of the turn. We hopefully KO Leafeon. Kingdra's at -1, right? And then your restricteds are Kyogre and Zacian. If you bring out Kyogre, okay, Ludicolo thrives. You bring out Zacian, well, I've already gotten a speed boost onto the Ludicolo. And then I can Max Quake onto Zacian as well. So, I just wasn't expecting to see a Leafeon here, but they probably have it on their team to maybe give Groudon some trouble. Because, like, this lead makes sense where, like, you know, the idea is, oh, how do you normally beat... Okay, and they actually switch maybe into Kyogre. That makes sense. I'm okay with that, truthfully, because I feel like with... Oh, wait. If Kingdra has Max Hailstorm and they Hailstorm into Ninjask, I am done for. I should have thought about that a little bit, but I was just like, hey, we had a Max Ninjask. The more consistent play would have been just clicking Dual Wing Beat there, and then maybe Icy Winding, I think. Or even maxing Ludi, although I don't really love the idea of maxing Ludi because it's fairly ineffective in a Kingdra. Oh, I suppose I could max Overgrowth. That's not a terrible idea. But I wanted to Dynamax Ninjask, so I have no regrets, regardless of outcome of the game. Kyogre and Groudon in the back for us right now, right? So, with Kyogre and Groudon, how do we beat Kingdra? I can't believe we're seeing Dynamax Ninjask versus Dynamax Kingdra right now, but here we are. Okay, they Airstream. That is actually a really good out... Oh, never mind. That's not a very good outcome. I get crit. I don't really think that matters. This is where the speed tiers get so wonky so quickly, but I think I just have to go into Groudon next turn. That's pretty good damage on a Kyogre, I will say that. Because, like, now I can bring out Groudon and I can just Airstream into Precipice Blades, right? If I go into Groudon, I change the weather, the Shedinja is definitely faster. I'm just worried about Leafeon sweeping me, but I guess I can always Dual Wing Beat the Leafeon. But they don't have... Okay, their switch into Precipice Blades would be Kyogre going out into Leafeon right now, correct? So I could read the switch and switch out into Kyogre. But I'm not even sure a Life Orb Geyser KOs us. Eh. Alright, I'm gonna just Airstream Kingdra Precipice Blades. I should have anticipated the max Airstream on a Ludi a little bit better. But I'm not sure what I would have even done to counter that. I guess the best option would have been to switch into Kyogre. But I guess I don't love the idea of switching in Kyogre when they have a Leafeon out on the field. Either way, what a fun final match here. Such interesting Pokemon. Kyogre is pretty decent against... Oh, they stay in. That's really good for me, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. Because it means I just get a lot of damage off, and I miss Precipice Blades. Okay, at least it hits Kyogre, though. That's the more important one, in my opinion. Could be worse. But if I hit Kingdra there, like, maybe it's in KO range after Life Orb from another Airstream. I'm going to opt for a Wormwind here. It's going to be a pretty rough hit for me, but we survive with 18. Okay. Pretty nice as well, because if they had Geysered... Well, even if they had Geysered, I suppose I've got Scarf on the Groudon, plus a Speed Boost onto it, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. It's going to be a fairly close endgame, honestly. Especially with that miss. I think if we hit, we would have been in a much better spot, because I would expect another Airstream to KO, but now I don't actually expect to KO them. They bring Leafeon out. I think I am just going to go for Precipice Blades and Airstream here, but they could obviously just go for Protect on Leafeon should they have that. I'm actually also not confident on -1 Airstream plus Blades KOing. No Protect, though. So Ninjask goes for its third Airstream of the game. I actually think Leafeon survives Precipice Blades. Let's see. But I kind of have to KO that, right? Because otherwise it's a huge threat to Kyogre. And I'm not KOing Kingdra this turn anyway. No, it has a berry? It's Agua Berry, and I miss Precipice Blades. Oh, I mean, it doesn't really matter on the Leafeon. What? Although, honestly, I don't mind seeing a Rain Dance as much there. I don't think it's as scary. And then they go for another Airstream. Okay. But I have Focus Sash. Ninjask is still faster right now. This is hilarious. What are the speeds right now? I don't even know off the top of my head. Because I have never used Ninjask with restricted formats. But our Dynamax sends first, so we're faster. Oh, that's nice to know. Oh, we're at +6 speed. It's been that long in the battle. This is really close. Like, I'm actually really want to dual wing beat Leafeon here. Because otherwise I can't KO it. And then just Precipice Blades. I don't even know if dual wing beat KOs. Oh, but they protect. Okay, okay, okay. That's huge in itself. We don't miss. Does this KO? Oh my gosh, you're so weak, Ninjask. Why? Okay, but Precipice Blades, does it connect? Okay. This is one of the funniest games I can remember in a while. Like, we have Leafeon on the field. We have Ninjask on the field. What is going on? Oh. And it's Zacian as the final Pokemon. Okay, okay, okay. Well, I've got Kyogre in the back. I am just going to dual Wing Beat Kingdra here. Sacrifice Groudon most likely, unless Wing Beat just KOs Kingdra. But at -1, I don't expect it to, but I can't switch it out either. I guess I could always Night Slash, go for a crit. Maybe that was slightly better here. Right, like higher crit chance. I don't know, but I'm thinking dual Wing Beat puts Kingdra in Life Orb range, and if that's the case, Kyogre comes out and can 1v1 Zacian, even if I lose both Mons here. Right? What a banger game to end things on. And Zacian just protects. Okay. I suppose that doesn't make much of a difference if you're clicking Muddy Water. No! But they target Groudon, so there's still a chance. Oh. Yeah, they also didn't need to protect Zacian there, but it makes sense. You're afraid of... well, actually, you're afraid of Groudon because you're trying to KO Groudon there anyway. Yeah, I don't think they needed to protect there. If they had attacked there, they most likely would have won. Oh, now it's tricky. Now it's tricky. Because I could dual Wing Beat, but Kingdra could protect as Zacian attacks. I'm also worried about Zacian having Wild Charge. So I'm going to click Origin Pulse here. I want to Origin Pulse and protect, truthfully. Because I'm worried about Kingdra protecting. Okay, let's see. And even if they don't protect, it's like, if they don't have Wild Charge, it might still be okay. Ooh, they just Hurricane me, though. That is not a good sign, but that doesn't do that much to us. Okay. And it's just Behemoth Blade. Okay, I think we're fine then. Oh my gosh, this game has given me so many heart attacks. From the Leafeon hanging on, to the Berry, to missing Kingdra twice. Now I might miss Origin Pulse. Okay, that connects. Thank you. If we can end this game with Dig, that would be such a banger. Actually, it's still not over, right? Because, like, if they KO Kyogre, you could still just win by protecting every time I dig. At this point, I'd rather... No, if I survive... we should just Origin Pulse. And dig. If Zacian protects here, though, that would be huge. They don't protect. Okay. Oh, Sacred Sword might just KO me here. Oh, no! I should have just gone for dual Wing Beat on a Kingdra, but I was going to... If I were in my opponent's shoes, I think I would have protected. And then KO'd Shedinja, so then it's a 2v1. I don't mind losing this, though. We definitely had multiple opportunities to win. My opponent made some nice plays. They should just protect here. Even if they don't protect, I do not expect Dig to KO, honestly. But yeah, they just protect. Yeah, I don't regret this. I mean, if we hit either of the attacks on the Kingdra, we would have been in a better spot. Plus, I had an opportunity to win by just making a right prediction. I don't think crit dual Wing Beat even gets the KO. We'll see. Might as well go for it at least. Like double crit dual Wing Beat one time or 2 times. That did like 0 damage. Why did they sub? I guess that like to play around Dig. You know the crazy thing is, no, even if I crit, it wouldn't have mattered, I think. Because, no, yeah, like, well, if I crit, it basically gives me a slightly better chance. Because, like, you give me an extra turn to essentially maybe win the game. But sub was maybe to counteract from me going for, like, a dig that turn, which would actually make it a lot of sense. But I didn't bother, like, going for the dig endgame there, because I was like, they could just protect stall me out anyway, so might as well just say GG. That was a really fun one, though. Like, yeah, we lost, but we got to Dynamax Ninjask, and I could have played better as well. My opponent had Leafeon with Rain Dance. Like, it was just all just madness. So that's going to be it for this one. What a banger episode, and a way to start the final rank season for Series 12, and for just Sword and Shield in general. So thanks so much, as always, for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.